First story is titled, Am I the a-hole for ruining my friend's birthday party by taking back the cake I baked for her? My friend is quirky. She was never diagnosed with anything, but she is very clueless sometimes. I have had to spell things out for her a lot. A few months back, she borrowed a dress of mine. I really loved that dress. There isn't any sentimental value, but I got it when we were on vacation a few years ago. She also loved that dress, and one day just transferred the money to my account and told me that she was keeping the dress. I spoke to her, but she just told me that doesn't matter, as she has paid me. Her birthday was a week ago, and her mom asked me to bake a big cake for her. I usually sell cakes cheap, little more than ingredients cost. On her birthday, I went over to her house with the cake 15 minutes before the party was due to start, and then decided to talk to her mother. Like I said, sometimes my friend is really clueless sometimes, and I was hoping her mom would speak to her and get my dress back. I was very shocked when she also said that as long as I was paid, what does it matter? She told me to just move on, as it was just a dress and that my friend really liked it. She told me as long as the dress was paid for, what am I complaining about? I got really pissed off and pulled out the amount she just paid me, put it on the table, picked up the cake, and left. She got mad and started yelling at me that I was ruining the party. I kept walking back to my house. She kept telling me to give back the cake and that I couldn't take it back just because I want to be petty. I just asked what she was complaining about, as I had paid back the money. My friend ended up having a cakeless 16th birthday because of this. Am I the a-hole here? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, obviously, but I'm dead laughing at this. They can have the "so what, it's paid for" mentality, but if it comes back on them, it's petty? Lol. I would just get a $200 in singles and go shopping in their house. I would collect the TV remote and leave $20 in its place. Grab the laptop charger and leave another $40. Frames of family photos? Drop another $10. Handles to their kitchen cabinets? $2 a piece. Caps all their pens? $5. Not the a-hole, but you should have just stolen the dress back while at the party and Venmo'd her money back to her. Now you have no friend and no dress. She never really had a friend, but if she and her parents involve the law, she'll get the dress back. At this level, it doesn't even have to involve the courts. Her mother can simply go over there and ask an officer to accompany them to retrieve the dress. I'm betting Little Miss Thief's mom would back down at that point. It was not for sale. It cannot be replaced. End of discussion. She did not have a cakeless party. They just have to go to the store. Not the a-hole. You were openly disrespected and stuck up for yourself. A sheet cake already made cost about $30 to $40. They could have gone and gotten one. Now for the next story. Update. Would I be the a-hole if I tell my fiance he cannot use my saving for his student debt? Original story. Some background info. I grew up in an Asian family in Asia, with the mentality that my parents would take care of me and I would take care of them when they grow older. Because of this mentality, there is no such thing of separate finances in my household. My fiancé grew up in an Asian family in America and doesn't really have such mentality growing up. Last night, I was going over my bank statement and my fiancé accidentally saw the amount of money I have in my saving. He was so excited when he told me that I can use that money to help him pay for the remaining student loan he has. I told him I can't do that. That money belongs to my family, my parents and I. Well, he didn't understand. So I told him that the reason I was able to save up was because there's a mutual understanding between my parents and I. I went to a state school near my house, so I didn't have any student loan. And when I got my job, I still stayed with my parents. My parents would still pay for the rent, utilities, food and such. I would then save up 2/3 of my salary every month. I also helped out with the car insurance and other expenses if needed. Even though the money is in my account, I considered it as my family's saving. He told me that he's also my family now, and I should use it to help him out a little. I told him that I need to ask my parents, and even if they agreed, I can only help out a portion, but not all. He blew up, saying I was selfish and that this is America. He and I should be a unit, not my parents and I. This is a place where I think I would be the a-hole, because technically, we are not married yet. And as for now, I don't think he can just demand it. Besides, even if we were married, I don't think he's entitled to my family's saving. It is simply not his money. Would I be the a-hole to tell him my thinking on this subject? Edit. Thank you for all your responses. Some people ask if he's the man I want to marry, and frankly, I'm thinking about the same thing nowadays. When we were dating, I told him upfront about my family dynamics and he told me he understood. He knew I had some money saved up and put aside, he just didn't know how much. He just completely changed after the engagement. I honestly don't know what happened to him. Edit 2. Thanks for all your support. Some people ask if my parents had a retirement plan, and the answer is yes. However, considered how we moved to America less than 10 years ago, his retirement plan cannot actually support both my parents. My fiancé and I currently live with my parents, and my parents didn't ask him to contribute to any household expense because they considered him as part of the family. We didn't ask him to save his money or anything though. He can do whatever with his money. That's why it's really shocked me when he didn't consider my parents as part of our family. I am rethinking about our whole relationship now. Edit 3. I know the notion of putting money aside for your parents sounds odd. Let me be a bit clearer. My parents never think that the money is there alone. I can use it freely if I want to. It's for the future, and if I choose to use it for his debt, they wouldn't mind as long as I discuss with them. They would even use their own savings to help out if needed. If he asked and discussed it with my family and me instead of berated me, I am confident that we can work something out. Now for the top comments before we read the update. The two of you have wildly different perspectives about money, and neither of them are wrong. But you need to have a serious conversation and come to an agreement about it before you get married, because this is the sort of thing that will tear you apart. No a-holes here. On the other hand, I agree. On the other hand, the way the fiancé reacted to this difference and jumped to shaming OP has me side-eyeing him and thinking he's a bit of an a-hole. Not the a-hole. If it is a significant sum of money, you should also see a lawyer about drawing up a prenup and keep that family money separate from your joint accounts after marriage. Or turn it over to your parents' accounts before you get married. This is very good advice. Should you keep the money in your account under your name, it could be determined to be a marital asset. It would be best to separate the money out so that your future husband cannot access it without your knowledge. Not the a-hole. Just because you are in a relationship with someone does not allow them to dictate your finances. Fiancé can't see an amount of money and be like, "Woo, student loans paid off." Y'all aren't married yet. Although if you want to marry this person, talk about finances now, lay out the rules, and listen to what they expect fiscally as well. Hash this out before you get married. And now for the update. Thank you for all your responses and judgments. It made me realize we had some differences, and I had a long talk with him. Long story short, we broke up. He told me he only wanted to marry me because he saw my savings statement way earlier and thought I would share it with him. He moved back to his family. This happened weeks ago, but I just wanted time to feel like myself again, so I was delaying the update post. Thank you again. Now for the top comments. He told me he only wanted to marry me because he saw my savings statement way earlier and thought I would share it with him. I hope you were aware he only said this to hurt you because you were dumping him. It's almost certainly untrue. He wants you to feel unattractive. He wants to damage you by saying this. All it shows is that breaking up has made him angry, and he needs to lash out. He had a lot of emotional investment in you, which contradicts the statement. Good luck, and know that your future will be much better without him, and in partnership with some other man. What an insightful and, I think, accurate statement. OP, please pop back to this statement if you're feeling shitty about the entire debacle at any point. Sorry, you caught such a terrible fish, and I'm glad you threw it back. Don't throw him back. Keep him out of the water and let him die. That's just freaking crappy. Screw him. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for stealing my ex-best friend kids? So, growing up, my best friend, Amber, and I were inseparable. We grew up next door to each other. She was even the first person I came out to, and was the biggest supporter after. But when she was 19, Amber got pregnant. The father wanted nothing to do with it, and went completely off the map. Amber didn't want to have an abortion, and decided she was going to have the baby. I agreed to help her every step of the way, but she then found out she was having twins. This resulting in her having to drop out of college once she gave birth. I tried to help to the best of my abilities, but I myself was a broke college student. Because of this, she fell into a deep depression and treated it with alcohol and eventually these. And she started doing stupid things that put her kids in harm's way. She never internally hurt the kids, but her action due to her substance abuse have put the kids in extreme danger on multiple occasions. She eventually got reported to DCS by an anonymous party, and her kids were taken from her. She herself asked me to agree to take them so they wouldn't go into foster care, which I did. She was allowed visitation, but would show up drunk and or high. This was not a pretty side of her. She said and done stuff that scared the kids, would try to start physical fights with me and my fiance, and on multiple occasions, she downright insult us, mostly using homophobic insults on us. Then she showed up high out of her mind, talking nonsense, and tried to run off with the kids. And when we wouldn't let her, she completely trashed our apartment. That was the last straw. We called the cops and she was arrested. Me and my fiance agreed not to press charge if she agreed to give up her custody rights. She agreed to sign the papers. This all happened over the span of 2.5 years. She also had a few D charges that we had no control over, but she ended up getting probation for those and is now posting about how we stole her kids. She's still a heavy user and has completely converted to homophobia. She tells people we are corrupting her children with our relationship. Now, here's the part that might make me the a-hole. I was the anonymous reporter. I reported her in the first place. I never thought she'd lose her kids, as I wasn't aware of how bad she was in the whole of her substance use. I was just hoping the visits might get her to straighten up her act. So, am I the a-hole for stealing my ex-best friend's kids? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. In fact, if you hadn't been the one who reported, I'd be actually mad at you. The kids needed to be out of there. You did not steal them. You did the right thing. Not the a-hole. And we all knew you were the anonymous reporter before you admitted it. Because that was the right thing to do, even if you knew she was going to lose custody. You've saved these kids from a horrible life. Just think of that and let go of the rest, and move away for safety. Not the a-hole. Those children take priority over the dangerous habits of their so-called mother. You reported her, and that's good. There are some people who are more dangerous to their kids than beneficial, and you did the right thing. She can tell people whatever she wants. Those kids are safe with you and your fiancé. Exactly. Besides, anyone who knows the egg donor knows she's on D's and knows why she lost her kids. Her friends are also on D's, and whose opinions don't matter. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my sister out of her own home in the middle of the pandemic? My sister leeches off of our parents. That's how it always was. She's almost 34, never even had a job. My parents passed away a few months ago and left me the house and assets. They left her about $55,000, which is 60% of what they had. I got the rest. I think I might be the a-hole here. Parents told me that when they pass, they will leave me the house, plus a few extras, because unlike my sister, who simply refuses to work, I have my own job, apartment, and I'm going to be engaged soon. My sister always told me that I will go to hell because I'm a homosexual man, why I don't consider her my sister. So, when I did get the house, I told her she has 3 months to move out, and even though I didn't have to, legally, I served her the papers. I told her she has plenty of money to get a nice place. Well, 3 months pass, and what does she tell me? She can't leave. She has to save. She spent $10,000 of her inheritance. How does one spend so much in 3 months? Well, I made her leave there and then, and now she is staying at her friend's house. Friend and her called me and said it's rude to kick her out, but I told a friend that she can let her stay with her if she wants to so bad. Last I heard, her friend kicked her out too. So, am I the a-hole for being so harsh on my sister? My fiancé says she deserves it for being such a leech. For people asking, my sister is able to get a job. My parents offered her good positions before they passed with help of friends, but she refuses. Also, $55,000 is a big sum of money here. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. She's the A. Change the locks and change your number. Cut her out of your life completely. I changed my locks the day she left because I don't trust that she only had one spare. I also installed cameras. Not the a-hole. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. It's clear her friend also noticed how much of a leech she was and kicked her out because of that. Also, congrats on the almost engagement. If the sister never had a job, she probably never expected to be kicked out of the house. Either way, she's almost 35 years old and she is basically a leech to the people around her. They got mad at OP for kicking her and out initially. Now they kicked her out as well. Luckily, she has $55,000 that she could use to get a decent place in their life on track. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.